Good day. This is Mike Ray with BidSpeed. I'd like to welcome you to our Empowered to Grow training. Um, sorry. Um, the topic today is going to be search, and we have landed on the dashboard here. After you sign into BidSpeed, this is the old dashboard, or now we call it just the inbox. And this is a zero tile inbox. And I'm going to touch on this first about searches, because when you sign up, you get these custom searches are already built for you. The ones with this says little AI on. So these ones have been pre-built based on your SAM information. And you can see we have pre-solicitations, we have sources sought, and we have RFPs. These are the federal combined synopsis and solicitations and amendments. So these are the RFPs, like I said, the sources sought and pre-solicitations. These have been preset based on your SAM information. The other ones here, these are the ones I have created, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. But there's going to be an option to create these tiles for the inbox. Okay, so these are the preset ones, and now we're going to go and look at the federal opportunities. So up here on the main menu on the left-hand side, we have says federal. So you click on that, it brings you into another menu, and then we have federal opportunities, which those are what we're going to talk about here in just a second. But just to point out that we also have DIBS here. This is under the federal level. That's the DLA's Internet Bid Board System, and that is product bought by the DoD. Okay. And then we also have grants, grants.gov, you probably heard of it. And then we have the award database, which is the federal procurement data system. And some people look at that as an opportunity database. So first, I'm going to go into the federal opportunities, and I'm going to go into all opportunities. Okay, so this is SAM plus the UN database. UN database is searched predominantly the same way as SAM, so we put them together. The other ones are separated because they're searched differently. Okay, so on our searches, and this will go for all the databases, doesn't matter which one you're in. These are all customizable to set up. So first of all, I can move the different search columns to wherever I like. I can also get rid of search columns I don't want. And let's see if there's anything I want. No, not right now. And then if I want to add search columns, there is a hide show optional field on every one of our databases. Okay, so if you click on that, these are all of the different fields that you can search by. We do not default them all on because you'd be scrolling most of the day. But a couple to point out, PSC code is not defaulted on. If you or your client searches by PSC codes, you'll need to turn that on. And then if they're a DoD player, you might also want to turn on major command, sub-tier, and sub-command. I'm going to turn on sub-command. I don't have that on. So I would turn those three on if they work within the DoD. And I'll show you why. Once I do select any ones that I select new, will turn yellow the first time just to show you where they are in case you want to move them, but it is where I want. I want it after major command. And the reason why I suggest putting sub-tiers, at least sub-tiers, is because the Department of the Army, Air Force, Navy, you would think it's a department, but it's actually a sub-tier of the Department of Defense. So if you were looking for, as I was in the Navy, so when I'm searching for the Department of the Navy, it's actually a sub-tier and not a department agency. Okay, so now once you have everything set up, we're going to create a search. And then if we want, we can save it as a filter. And even if we want an email or if we want to put a tile on our inbox. So first of all, we are opposite of Google. I know everyone's used to Google. You put in keywords, you hit go, hope to land on a set of answers. We start with show all. We start with all the answers. It's 2.6 million, over 2.6 million. And then we filter out the noise, the things we don't want to see. So working mostly with small businesses that have some type of social economic status. So we all preach to them about responding to sources sought and getting that set aside, and lock out the primes. So of course, I'm going to do a search. So I usually create two searches for a company. One is for the early market research, the sources sought, and I include pre-solicitations in that. So I go pre-solicitations, and then down here it says click while holding down the shift or control keys to select multiple items. On a Mac, it's the command key. And so I'm hitting the command key and I'm going to hit sources sought. So pre-solicitation, sources sought, I lump those together. I look at that as early market announcements and early market research. And a lot of the pre-solicitations become sources sought, and sometimes they don't update the name. So I also track the pre-solicitations for that reason. So I apply those two, and it's going to go from 2.6 million down to 720,000. That's both past and present. Now up here on the navigation button, we have one that says filters. The top part is the management of the filters, and I will manage a filter here in a minute. I will save it. But there's these preset filters that are set for your company. And one of them is my account NAICS. This matches all your account NAICS at one time. If you have PSC codes under your account, you can match your PSC codes. Keywords. We'll talk about building your keyword list. And once you've built that, this will match all the keywords at one time. You could also get sources sought only here, but I wanted to do pre-solicitations and sources sought. So that's why I used the filter dropdown. And then the reason why I'm on this right now is I'm going to use active solicitations only. Okay. A couple different ways to do this, but I find using the preset filter of active solicitations only. So this is only the present ones, not the past. So there's 2,760. And at this point, they probably want to narrow it down to the company of either the NAICS code, PSC code. We're missing one. Hold on. And then I'm also going to bring in class code. Okay. Now, hopefully everyone's familiar with NAICS codes and hopefully PSC codes, product service codes, NAICS codes, North America Industrial Classification System. And then there's class codes. Class codes are part of the PSC code system. It is the first one or two letters of the PSC code. So you can see numbers are products, letters are services. I use class codes only during the sources sought process because sources sought, the NAICS code's not always well defined or even listed. And so 10 during the sources sought, early market research, I tend to use class codes. So, and so like for IT, which is the industry I'm in services, so letters, information technology, there's only one letter. It covers all IT. Okay, so it's pretty broad. But for the sources sought, it's fine because that's only 59 IT sources sought or pre-solicitations on the street. And that's over usually about a 3-week period. So at this point, I look at the posted date and make sure I'm not going to be overwhelmed like with 1,000 opportunities a day because no one will be able to get through that. You want to make sure your filters are not too tight, missing things, or not too loose where you're overwhelmed with opportunities. So 59 is definitely manageable. So at this point, I'd want to save this as a filter because I don't want to have to do this each day. So I come up to filters again and I say save current filter. And I'm going to call this sources sought. Oh, no, it's not NAICS code. It's class D. Okay, so, and if I don't remember what D equals IT. Okay, so now you have some choices down here. Sharing it, if you have other users within your account and you want them to see this filter, and I'll show you where those are, you can share it with them. And then create a search agent means I want an email. I don't want to have to come in each day and look. I want it to send me when something new hits. And add as an inbox. This is for that dashboard. Remember, the inbox is where we log into the 0 tiles. And this means that I want this one as one of the 0 tiles. Okay. And I want to be able to add that to my inbox. So I'm going to do those two. because first of all, I want to show you what happens when you say you want a search agent. Oh, I'm sorry, I already got this. No, it's gonna let me use it anyway. I've got naming, same thing twice. So now the reason why it comes to one more window is because on this window, because you want the email, you've requested an email, there's a send to at the very bottom. And you can pick anybody and everybody in the company that you want that email to go to. So you can distribute it to multiple people, everybody. You can pick and choose however you want. Just remember, use the Shift or Control key for multiple items or the Command key for the Mac. Okay, I am not going to send it to anybody else in the company. They don't need it. I'm going to cancel it. If you hit save and run, it will send you an email right away, and you'll just check to make sure you receive it. It doesn't go into your spam account. Okay, so now I've created the filter, and like I said, it's now here at the bottom of my, so I can always get to it. You can see the little check marks on, and I had used check. So now if I go do another search, I'm going to do another search, and then I want to come back to that. I'd hit show all, because you don't want to have conflicting searches. So show all, and then come to filters, and I can go back to those sources sought class D. Okay, and then off I go. Okay, so now I'm going to typically create one more search. And so once again, you start with show all. And then this time I'm going to look for RFPs. And that's combined synopsis solicitations and synopsis solicitations amendments. Okay. So I'm going to apply those two. And then response date, there's a couple different ways. Up here we have the filters, active solicitations only. But here I'm going to use a different one. I'm going to use greater than today. Both sort of do the same thing. So response date, it's in the future. So there's 4,913. And then at this point, I would not use a class code, too general. I'd either use PSC code, NAICS code, keywords, combination. So I'm going to use NAICS codes. Now I didn't memorize my NAICS codes. So I'm going to go up to that filter and match all my account NAICS right there. So now there is 140. Okay, actually quite a few. But that's over 4 to 6 week period. So once again, I'd look at the posted date, make sure you're not going to be overwhelmed with too many opportunities. You can see there's quite a few on the 24th. So, you would take a look at this filter, use it for a little while. If it's too broad, you might want to use some keywords, overlay them on the NAICS codes. If not, and then once again, I would save this, depending on if I tighten it up or not. And I would do a very similar thing. I'd go save current filter. This time, this is RFPs. And I use my NAICS. Once again, I can share it. I can create a search agent, meaning I want an email distribution. And remember that will create one more, will bring up one more window, and I can distribute it to multiple people in the company. And then add is the inbox, which I will do again because I want to, I'm going to add this to my inbox, and I'll say okay. Now it says it's already exists again. I tend to use the same names over and over. So now it's been created, and there it is, RFP my NAICS, and there's the source to sought class D. Now make sure to hit show all if you're switching filters, because if I say I forget I had the NAICS codes on and I say I want to go to the source to sought, there's no such thing. No such thing as something that's a source to sought and an RFP at the same time. So remember, hit show all and then go to whichever filter you want to use. Okay. So that is setting up searches in the federal opportunities. And actually, that is very similar for all of our databases. All of our databases are very similar as that they can be customized. We have the hide show optional fields. We search by these fields, and then they all have where you can save the filter. Not all of them have the email associated to it, but like FPDS, the award database, does not have automatic emails. So with that, that is a federal search. You can stop the recording.